I'm SunDej, and I'm your host for the Manifesting Through Music Conference. And today I have a very special guest. His name is Antoine, and he is a vocal coach. So I'm going to let him introduce himself, and then we'll get right into this segment. So
Hello,
thank
hello.
you, Antoine, for being here.
Most definitely. And I just wanted to start off by that as well. Just thanking you for giving me this opportunity to speak to the artist community. So thank you so much. Thank you. And just a little bit about myself. My name is Antoine Griggs. I'm from Detroit, Michigan. That's where the love of music started. From middle school all the way down for me attending DSA, Detroit School of Arts, the home school of Aaliyah, rest in peace. So it was a great experience. Um, that's where it started for me, where the love of music there. And I just, once I got that bug of just being immersed in the arts in Detroit, I was in the Mosaic Youth Theater, as well as with DSA, the School of Arts. I just kept going. I just took my studies further to college. I attended Morehouse College in Atlanta and Georgia State, and got my master's in voice at Georgia State University in Atlanta, Georgia.
That's awesome. And that's that's like a good trivia fact. I didn't know that
Mhm.
about Aaliyah that she went to. It's called the DSA School of Arts.
Yeah, yeah. That was the acronym, but the name of the school is Detroit School of Arts. It was founded by
Okay.
Denise Davis Cotton. Yes.
Okay. That's so
Hmm.
cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so I feel like when it comes to artists, they think that it's best to wait until they've made it, so to speak. Like after they've hit a certain number of followers or
Hmm.
they've landed some big opportunity
Hmm.
to decide, okay, now it's time to invest, whether that's
Right.
in consulting or anything. So tell
Hmm.
us your perspective on when is a good time for an artist to invest in a vocal coach. And then also too, I think that maybe there's a misconception that only singers need a vocal coach and not
Mm.
just performing artists in general. So can you touch on that as well?
Good points. I just want to touch on that. It's best to start when you first make that decision that, hey, I want to be in this industry, because you want to start that training. You want to start the vocal lessons. You want to start um, getting a team together and just learning the ropes of the business. Because I think the idea of people wanting to wait, and the honest truth about it is people, the budget, the money. People are always concerned about, oh, this is too much, or oh, I don't have that. I'm trying to get to the big leagues like the Beyoncés and the Jay-Z's, but not knowing those artists actually in the beginning literally took all their resources that they had, whether it was just a little or just enough or nothing at all. They really hustled to start that early on training, that early on honing of their skills in the beginning. So to answer your question, it's best to do it in the beginning, especially for singers, because when you hit that road, because a lot of artists, most artists, well, all artists make most of their money on the road, traveling, singing. So it's best to go ahead and get that early training with the vocal coach or with the vocal teacher early on in your career, because you want to be so prepared that when you get that big deal and that record label say, hey, we want you to go on a 50 city tour, we want you to go all over Europe, and we need you to get started, you're not oh, rushing and looking for a vocal coach. You're not nervous. You know, we all have a little nerves, but you're prepared basically. You're not unprepared. You already been equipped. You already know what you need to do. You already know how you should approach that everyday singing on that tour like that. You know how you should rest your voice. You've already educated versus you waited just till now just to say, hey, it's time for me to get a vocal coach. And you hit that tour and you're exhausted. Your voice is gone, and then you're mixing a little partying with that, and not knowing that affects your voice because you got to get up tomorrow and do another show. So it's good to get with a vocal expert who can sit down and let you know that, hey, this is how you approach singing. This is what you need to look out for when you're getting ready to travel, to get on the road to start touring.
Okay, that brings up a really good question before we get into the next one. So,
Mhm.
how does preparing for a one-time show, like say maybe you have a big show, um, for Valentine's Day or some holiday or event that's coming up? Like, what's the difference between preparing for a one-time event and a tour? Like, or just some of the main things that you need to be aware of?
Well, the biggest thing being aware of that is honestly is your stamina. You want to make sure you're healthy. You want to make sure you're getting a lot of rest. You're drinking a lot of water. You're staying hydrated, and not only that, you want to make sure you always warm up before you sing. And that's simply you can do that on some vowels. For example, just before you get up there to sing anything, just to get the voice moving. The biggest thing is rest, staying hydrated with water, and making sure you're vocalizing before you sing. You don't want to, it's not a good idea. If you're doing a one-day show, it's not a good idea the night before or the day before to go out celebrating that you got a show or anything. It's best to be at home, resting, staying hydrated with your water, just kind of getting your mind together for the next day. So when it's time for the show, you're ready, you're healthy, you can get on the stage and rock it out. And then afterwards, you can go celebrate. Now, here's the thing when you're doing multiple shows, is you don't have more than one. That causes for a lot of discipline. And a beautiful thing I loved about singing, it created discipline within me. And it kind of taught me some things like, hey, I can't go out drinking tonight, or hey, I can't go out partying. Oh, I can't go to this concert yelling at my favorite artist tonight because I have to sing. So when you're doing multiple shows, you really have to discipline yourself and say, hey, after this show, I can't hang out tonight. I literally have to go back to my hotel room, rest, drink my water, and get some rest. That seems boring, right? But you're going to appreciate that in the long run. When you get on that stage, you're healthy, you're ready, and you're rocking out those shows versus, and I'm only saying this from experience. I have had some experience where I was on, for example, I was on a tour with my choir in college. I was singing a solo every day straight. It was a tour. Every day I had to, every stop we had, I had to sing that solo. And it got to the next, I think we like 5 or 6 cities in. I just left my voice at the last. I just sang my butt off. And then when we got to the next city, my voice was just shot. It was gone. So I had to really kind of go figure out how I'm going to get this back together, how I'm going to get my voice back together. And ultimately, the biggest thing with that is resting, putting that discipline on you to say, hey, I'm not going to do this, A, B, and C until this is over. It just takes a lot of discipline.
That's so true. And I experienced that too for my first show because my vocal coach, she told me the same thing. She was like, don't be trying to talk and meet and greet with people before, make sure you have your quiet time and all of that. And I was in my head, I'm like, okay, I can do that, right? Well,
right.
the event that I went to, they didn't have like a space for the artists like beforehand. So naturally, like people are coming, they're like, hey, we came to see you. I can't wait. Da, da, da. And we're talking. So by the time I get ready to perform, I'm like, what's happening? Because I could feel my voice kind of going in and out. And then on top of that, there was some sound stuff going on. So I was like, okay, this is a lesson because next time I'm just gonna sit in the car. Because I thought like I was telling them like I gotta be quiet, like don't talk to me. But at the same time, everybody's excited. So that's a really something that's really important that I don't think people think about until it's in the moment or it's too late.
Right. It's too late, right.
Yeah. So with that being said, what is your process for working with artists when it comes to vocal coaching? And just walk us through like just that first point of contact. How would they reach out to you? And then what does it look like to build a regimen, or whether it's just one lesson or a series of lessons when it comes to preparing for an event or a tour or something like that?
Yeah, so the way I have it set up personally for my my vocal studio, I have it on my business page on Instagram at Antoine Vocal Coach. What you can simply do is just DM me and say, hey, I'm interested in taking voice lessons. And what I'll do is request your email just so we can have that communication back and forth in email, to then give you the details of, hey, rates, what we offer, and just to see if the potential client, the potential vocal student is interested, whether they want to do a full hour vocal lessons or 30 minutes, just to get an idea to see what they want to do. Eventually, I will be creating a new website soon where you can make it easy and just go on that website, click, book your lesson, and it's just an easy fix there for you to book. Outside of that, once you actually book, I'm going to ask you some serious. Our first interview is just going to ask you a series of questions. How often do you practice? Do you know how to sight read music? What are your goals? What do you feel like you need to improve with your vocal lesson? So those are a few little interview questions I will ask. Based on that, that'll let me know where I need to start. And I mentioned sight reading, and I know a lot of singers are like, what? I don't know how to sight read. What's that? If you work with me, I'm going to teach you how to do it. Because sight reading is very important. It will separate you from the amateurs and the professionals. Because sight reading to get you along when you may do a gig and the music director might say, oh, I need y'all to learn Ain't No Mountain High by Marvin Gaye. I don't got time to teach the notes. Here's the score for everybody. I want to prepare my student when they look at that sheet music, look at that vocal score, they know their vocal line, they know how to read the vocal line, they know how to get it quick. Because once you set yourself apart and you know how to sight sing, the opportunities for gigs and opportunities for you to make money as a professional is endless because you know how to sight read, you're ready. So, and I'm going to incorporate, teaching keyboard, teaching piano, because that is important. You understanding that piano, and I'm just, of course, teaching beginners. I'm not going to go right to the advanced, but I just want to I like to give my students an introduction on how to read piano, the basic. I'll teach you vocal pedagogy. Vocal pedagogy is just learning about the anatomy of the voice, learning where your larynx in, the tracheal, and learning about those different terms. I'm just really going to take it to a deep step of getting you educated. Not only I want you to sing well, and I want you to understand what you're doing when you're singing. And I always say to everybody I work with, I want you to eventually get to a place where you're teaching somebody how to do this. You're teaching someone how to sing. I don't always want my students just to be the student. I want you to one day eventually graduate to being a teacher. So that's my process. It really takes a lot of discipline. I have had some experience where artists think they come in, they take what they think it's like, oh, I'm just going to be singing. Oh, it's going to be, no, posture, breathing, vocalization. Let's get into the sight reading. Let's make sure you're singing properly. And when they find out it's that intense, you start weeding people out. You got your serious people, and then you got your people who are like, this is a hobby. I'm gonna go to somebody else and see if it's easier than what he brought to the table. So that's my process.
Thank you so much for sharing that. Okay, so the last question is basically, I guess, like an avatar, right? A lot of the artists who are in my community are brand new. There are some that have been established, but a lot of them are new and they're just getting into the industry. So say, they don't have a live show coming up or they don't have a tour lined up. What are 3 things that you feel like they could be putting into their everyday practice starting right now that will help them to have more ease when they do start getting into doing live shows and regular gigs?
Mm-hmm. What I would recommend for that, first, find you a vocal teacher. And you can shop for vocal teachers. If money is always a big talk in music. People, I ain't got the budget for that. Don't worry about the money. Money comes as it goes. And even when you're investing into it, money comes as it goes. So you can't make that a big excuse, because everybody makes that an excuse when they get in the music business. The money is an issue. But the way to approach that is the beginning. If you're a singer or a rapper, because you made a good point. Now, this day and age with music, the rappers are singing. And honestly, they do need vocal coaching because they tour a lot, just as much as the singers do. So with that, find you a vocal teacher that you can probably work out a deal with, or work out something. You can get somebody in your corner, an experienced vocal coach that's going to work with you throughout your journey, So when you get ready to go to the big leagues, you're set. So that's one. Find a reasonable professional vocal teacher that can help you on your journey. Second, go to Barnes and Nobles. And I'm going to use like Barnes and Nobles, the bookstore. Yes, go. Start studying about the music business. Don't leave it up to other people to teach you about what copywriting is, what major distribution, or those different things. Don't leave it up to them or anybody else to teach you that. So when you actually go to a consultant expert, they're putting all these terms and different things on the table. You can sit back and say, I already knew that. I read that in a book. I've already been getting educated on that. This saves you from getting scammed. This saves you from getting your time wasted. And it's ultimately, when I work with artists, they be literally so surprised with me because they be like, this man, sometimes, to be honest, I do consultations for free. Sometimes they be like, wow, this man is literally taking the time out to teach me about the music, teach me about what I need to have in place, my copywriting, my everything. Because you're not going to find a lot of people like me. You're going to find people that's going to say, hey, you don't know about the music business? Oh, cool. Don't worry. I'll teach you everything you know. Just sign right here on the dotted line. And then you're not educated. You get caught up in a contract for years. You like, whoa, I didn't know. So that's the second thing. Get educated. Go to the bookstore, to the library, pull out some music business books, pull out some music books and start preparing for this. Three, if you're looking to be an entertainer, the vocal coach, educating yourself on the music business, the third thing I will recommend is get you a support group around you. Find the people who support and love what you do. So when you start fundraising, because you are going to need a budget for what you're getting into, the music business, start your fundraising now. I have plenty of artists, not plenty, I've had some that literally told me, oh, I don't want to do fundraising because I think it's begging. It's only begging when you don't have nothing to show for when you're for what you're asking. If you're reaching out to somebody to say, hey, can you donate to this? The first thing they're going to ask, okay, what am I donating to? What do you have to offer that I can see me feeling good about my donation? You need to literally set yourself up a proposal, set you up something that you can market yourself. So whenever you get out there to fundraise and say, hey, I'm getting ready to step out into the music career, and the music career takes a lot of money as far as to invest in to get me where I need to be. Set you up a nice professional proposal, something that can attract people to actually like, okay, I don't mind donating to this. And just for example, for me, it was my last point. I'm in the classical field too, as far as with singing and performing. I actually had to do, I believe it was a 6-week program in Siena, Italy. I didn't have all the funds I needed to get there, but I did start fundraising. I put on concerts around the city so people could donate. My mom, she put on a little fish dinner, did that and got money of that. So the third thing is start preparing and start saving your money, and also start preparing a proposal to start putting yourself out there so you can start raising funds to go towards your expenses for what you need in the music business. Yeah.
So many gems, Antoine. I just want to say thank you so much for sharing your knowledge. I feel like we could go on, into some of the side topics that we brought up. Like we could go deeper. But before we close, can you just share with everyone how they can reach you? What's your most used platform, and what's the best way for them to make that first point of contact with you to get that coaching that they're looking for?
Yes, my main platform I am on often is Instagram. So you can contact me at Antoine Vocal Coach. That's ANTOINE Vocal Coach. Just go ahead and follow me and DM me and message me, and you will have access to my email there as well. If you want to just email me at AntoineGriggs@gmail.com. The last name is GRIGGS@gmail.com. You can email me. I'll soon have a website very soon, but those are the best ways to contact me. Of course, you can follow me. I have a page on Facebook. It's called Antoine Griggs Vocal Studio. So you can follow there as well. And I'll be gladly get back to you and we can set something up.
Okay, sounds good. I just want to thank you one last time and thank you to
Thank
everybody who
you.
tuned in and watched from beginning to end. Thank you so much. And if you're not already registered, make sure you do so that you can see all the speakers throughout this conference talking about the business side as well as just being prepared for your career as an artist. So thank you all again, and we'll see you in the next segment. Bye.